Well, I love the start we got off to. On both ends of the floor. When we can keep it to one and done and get out and run, God, we're a lot of fun to watch. We really know how to play. We move that ball. Certainly, we have shot makers in different spots. Fun way to play. Guys that came off the bench gave us good stuff. I mean, these two games have been good to get guys confident, and some guys need to get a little more confident than other guys. So it was good to let some guys have some success in these two exhibition games.
Have you moved it even better than maybe what you thought coming in? You were 26 and 28.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, was it 28 on 39 field goals? I mean, I think you could lock a team in the gym playing 5-on-0, and they couldn't do that over 40 minutes. It's really, and I saw it this summer. It's part of our culture. We're really proud of it, and it's really a fun way to play. And our young guys have come into it and have absorbed it, and learned from the older guys this summer. This is how we play.
I know one of the first talks you had with guys when they get here is the ball is gold.
Right.
How quickly do you get to this is the way we do it as far as moving it and sharing
Yeah,
and playing on
we got a lot of clips of that. Really selling our guys on that, and our older guys. What's great to the rhythm to our roster, we only have maybe three guys. Three guys show up, and you got 11 guys helping those three understand this is how we play, and they learn it all summer. Certainly, the practices once a week help, but the old guys in the pickup games, the rest of the summer and the preseason are really helpful. But we've got great clips of former teams doing it. We've got great clips of this team doing it. We always are trying to reinforce it. I talk about assist to turnover all the time, and I love the fact that, both games, no matter what the score is, guys aren't experimenting and trying to do things they can't do. We know who we are, we know our roles, and that's pretty good maturity. I was really been happy with that.
Happy with what you got from Matt Ryan?
Yeah, he's moving, and how many minutes did he play tonight? He got 14, 16, 14. That's pretty good for him. He's been moving good the last 3 days of practice. We just got to get his conditioning up. It's an amazing weapon, what he can do out there. But he does other things too. He passes, he cuts, he's rebounded for us. But we're going to need him, and I love the fact that he's healthy, and we got some time to get him in shape here, another stretch to get him in shape before we play Saturday again.
Okay.
Torres, his heart rate revved a little, but he's fine. It calmed down. I think we were very cautious about anything like that. He's not had any heart issues, but it was fluttering and revving, so they took him down. I think maybe they'll run some other tests, but he is fine, and I guess we'll get more of an update tomorrow.
Did you just talk to him?
I didn't talk to him. I tried to call him. I didn't get an answer. The doctors told me at halftime that his resting pulse was back. It was steady. It's funny because, this year we started practicing with the heart rate monitors. We don't use them in a game, but we do use them in practice. And he's the one guy whose resting pulse, his pulse gets higher quicker than anybody on the team. It's just who he is, and that's why he has to play short bursts and he gets fatigued. And I guess that was about a 3-minute window where he was going for it. But when he looked over, it was a different kind of look. It wasn't like I got a bad ankle or a knee. He was a little scared. So, we got him out. Again, I think it's going to check out all right, but we'll take our time and get some tests on it.
What maybe was the most important thing that you learned over the course of these two games?
That we know who we are. We don't get out of character. Our young guys know what they're supposed to do for us. That we really still understand our unselfishness and ball movement, and that offensive efficient way to play. It's a fun way to play. Guys have really grasped it. We're unselfish defensively, and we're patient defensively. We had some possessions tonight where the clock is low because we're not really overplaying you and trying to steal it from you, but we're in position, so the clock winds down. And there's clock pressure on them, and instead of fouling, we were in good position and we made them take a tough shot. We rebounded, and we got some of our great breaks out of situations like that. I like that we're really mature, we know who we are, and we don't experiment. We don't, if you were to experiment, you would stand out like a sore thumb in our program right now, doing things you can't do. It would really stick out. So there's good solid roles, and guys know what they are.
When you look at I know you have that trust with Marty that he can fill that role. Has he shown you what he needed to show you?
Yeah, and it's good. It's not just Marty. It's a bunch of guys. I like the fact that we have a couple bodies, but I mean these 2 games were important for Martin. He hasn't played and stuff. So to start, to get out there with the veteran guys, to fly around a little bit, to have some success, doesn't matter who it's against. He needs to feel good about himself going into Saturday, and I think we achieved that.
I know Steve's not a guy you're usually worried about. He had 3, he was 7 in the first game. Was he who you want him to be in the first half today?
Yeah, I think, one thing about our group, nobody really has to force anything, and Steve, I use Steve as an example with our team after the game, after the Mercy game, in that here's a guy that didn't get a shot, really wasn't involved, but yet we were scoring and moving, and he still defended and moved the ball, and he's mature enough to know it comes back around, and then all of a sudden to start the second half, he got going again. So I think I like our guys aren't insecure if they're not getting stuff. They're not trying to force anything, because we do have some other guys that can put the ball in the hole. Steve's as mature, as steady as anybody, understanding that.
I know you 2-3 zone a little bit more today. How do you want to use that this season? Is it all like last year?
Yeah, I think it's a change of pace for us. We change up just to change of pace, just to change gears. We got some reps in it in both games. We've rotated into it a lot here in the past teams, but I think it's something. The one thing the starting group does is they play that pretty well. They understand how to play that pretty good, better than last year's group. So it's a nice change of gears.
My question, in the first half, bench dynamics, especially in the first half, this is probably the most vocal bench that I've seen in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think we got some.
What is that?
Well, I think that's personality of the guys you have. I mean, we're not. I don't have the time to practice bench vocals. But that may be a good clinic topic next year. How to get your bench vocal. The next Under Armour clinic. I think, guys, there's what you're seeing is really a pure group that likes each other. They pull for each other. Now the neat thing is, for the 2 games, everybody got to play. Everybody was part of it. That will change a little bit maybe on Saturday, that dynamic. So can we still have a good bench? One of the guys, Torres is great over there. He doesn't start. Burns is fabulous over there. TJ Gibbs, Rex, those guys have great energy, and none of them are starters. And I think it's neat that our starters, when they're sitting out, really pull for that other group. It's something you want to bottle. It's hard to do it for 5 months, but we're pretty pure in that department.
Matt Farrell seemed to, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I got you next.
Tie it all together. You talk about ball movement.
Yeah.
He seemed to be in control of the tempo.
Yeah, he's feeling really good about who he is, and again, when we're running with him with the ball, it's beautiful to watch. But he's gotten very confident. It was important for him to start at home for 2 games and feel good about his group. He's talking more. He's running our stuff more. I gave him responsibility the other day in practice. We had some game situations, and Bonzi got in the wrong position or whatever, and Bonzi gets so emotional sometimes he may forget where he's supposed to be. So I said, if he's not in the right position, it's your fault. That's your responsibility. Get my man in the right spot. So I think that's made him more vocal.
I thought it was surprising that Farrell wasn't a vocal guy. I guess it was because he wasn't the man at the point.
Right.
But I mean, is that natural?
It is natural. Yeah, I think it is. If you're not really, and now he knows it's his team to run, and he's become better in that department. VJ's made great strides in that department. He's really grown there. Bonzi is a voice that I'm excited about, in some of our knockdown, drag-out practices, and they're very competitive because our blue team can give you everything you want. Bonzi's the guy that kind of gets the white shirts going when they're getting smacked around a little bit. So it's been interesting to see him evolve into a leadership and a voice. In the back.
Hey, Mike, 2-part question. Would you talk a little bit about Jay Howard for Catholic, had a double-double?
Yeah.
And how do you think the Cardinals will do when they drop back to Division III?
Yeah, he's really a gifted guy. I mean, he had 6'10" guys standing behind him the whole game, but he's got great strength. He's really a tough matchup at that level. Love his strength and steadiness. I mean, when you have an inside-the-arc guy that can put some numbers on the board, we had a guy by the name of Herringody. I would compare him to like Herringody. He could be a Herringody at that level where he's just really hard to deal with. I like that he can pass it too, and they got some shooters around him. They're going to have a nice group when they get into league play.
You look at TJ, how much of a role, I guess, can he handle at that point guard position, and how exciting is it? The potential.
Yeah. Well, I love those two guys kind of playing off of each other. TJ comes in and he's a lot like Rex when he comes in. He gives you great edge and energy. He's pressuring the ball. He gets his hands on a loose ball and gets it to Torres for a dunk. He's always around the ball, and there's a great energy about him. When you come off with Rex, a Torres, and a TJ, and even now I would add Elijah Burns, because you've seen those guys give you great juice, and so I love what he's doing, sharing that position with Matty, playing with him some, but he's pure, man. He just, how do you want me to help? What's my role? And we just got to keep grooming him because he's going to play big minutes for us.
Is that pretty rare from a freshman playing that position?
No, well, we've had some freshman point. Torrey Jackson was kind of thrown into that role a little bit. Chris Thomas was kind of thrown into that role, and those guys, actually had to start. Chris started the first game of his career, Torrey later. But again, he's got good older guys helping him. But again, you've heard me say it, man. He's a fighter. He's the youngest. He had to fight for his life in that house when they go to the gym against Sterling and Ashton.
Do you want like a 5-minute sequence where TJ and Matt are in the game, kind of game in, game out? Or
Yeah.
Just kind of how it.
Yeah, I kind of read it. You kind of read it. I mean, it's not anything I go in and say, let's get them both in there. We probably played it a little more that way the other day than tonight. And that's because Matt Ryan was available. And, I want to get him minutes and get him going. But I think that's something we can look at because they both are a threat to make a shot, too, But what I've liked is when they've come in for each other, they've got fresh legs to pressure the ball three-quarter court. And that's going to help over time. Another guy, pressure the ball handler and make teams start their offense a little further out for us.
Is anybody looking at a 5-year plan?
Nick. Yeah, that's why, I didn't play Nick in the first half, and we are going to do that with Nick. Talked about it last week, and, of course, tonight was the last night he could get some minutes in a uniform. But he's really understanding. I think he knows when Beecham and Astoria leave the building, there's a lot more room for him, and he certainly has great examples in Austin and Elijah to talk about. We've got a track record, different strength training program, individual workouts, but he gets it, and so he'll go on that. And then so what are we dealing with? 11 scholarship guys, right? We got 11 then eligible to go, and hopefully Austin's back, Matty back. The last 4 practices we've had everybody, which has been great. But we've been pretty healthy. Matty Ryan was the only guy that we were dealing with. So the key is to keep him healthy here as we get into the real stuff. Thanks, guys.